Good afternoon. I guess good evening for you. How you doing, Devin?
Hey, how you doing, David?
Hey, it gave me a slight Facebook error. I don't know what's with the software the last 2 weeks, so you might want to make sure I had to re-add Facebook according to its message.
Well, you had it posted successfully. Yep, nope, it's working. The show starts now. So Facebook's running fine. Twitch is running fine. YouTube is running fine. We're 5x5 across the board.
Okay. Well, we have a really great designer online tonight. Okay, and we've got some exciting news to share with about him and with him. We'll be bringing him on board in a second. You've checked everything out.
Yep.
I believe, Devin, I know you were not feeling too good. How you feeling now?
Oh, a lot better. Ear infection, third time in the last 6 months or so. So ran up to the VA. They didn't put me in a straitjacket or kill me. So I guess that's promising news. But I put meds in my ear about a half hour ago, and they're not draining out. So my entire left side is just,
Yes, I think you're talking too much, buddy.
Could very well be. So a lot of pain associated with it a couple days ago, but I'm feeling fine now.
All right. Well, we normally give you news and little updates on what's going on, but we're gonna wait and we're gonna bring Bill on because he's back on the East Coast and it's already after 9 there. And I know that poor man gets up way earlier than I want to. So let me bring Bill in and we'll start. Hey, Bill, how you doing, buddy?
Hello. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
I can hear you.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me on here, David and Devin. It's quite the honor to be on your podcast show.
Well, that's what happens when you complain. I saw the post.
I think you guys forget that, there are war gamers that do like Flint and Steel and, the Rev War and you can't forget the French and Indian War, of course.
And some that even like ancients and antiquities.
That's true too.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, I will say I was talking to Darren, and he told me that Bloody Mohawk and Savage Wilderness really do outsell quite a few of our other Battles on Demand games.
Well, that's
so I don't
good.
know if it's prolific posting and talking to people about them or what, but I don't argue with success. But before we get too far, okay. A lot of people may not know this, and we're going to let the cat out of the bag a little bit. Let me just find what I'm looking for before I say something stupid. Okay. But we heard that sometime next month, a certain person is getting married.
That's very true. I'm going to be married to Lisa Ellis. She'll be Lisa Molyneaux, November 14th. And what's really special about our wedding is it's going to be taking place at the Mary Penn French Indian War site outside of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and everyone will be in French Indian War kits.
Well, where's that going, Bill?
We have Regiment de Lorraine coming. They're one of my main units. So we have several awesome people that in the French Indian War community, they're historians throughout the Pennsylvania, New York State region.
Well, you got a special woman that are able to let you have a wedding at a fort. And I saw a picture of her wedding ring. I have 2 carats. I got to give you credit for that one.
That didn't go over as well as I thought it would.
I wonder why. But,
I had the real ring in my pocket later. So it was after I realized she didn't. Yeah, she didn't think it was as funny as I thought it was.
Well, women have a way about that, especially with weddings. But we got something we wanted to play for you, just for you, buddy.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. And I also, one of the cool things of doing games with Lock and Load is all of you guys are like a family. When I come out and see you in Western Pennsylvania, and Darren and everybody, and you, it's like, almost coming to a family reunion. And
we have a great time, and like I said, it's this year's been kind of a suck for comes to conventions, of course, and reenactments and everything else. It's been really a big loss for this year.
Yeah, we got a reenactment in last week at Pennsylvania State Park outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But there was a lot of social distancing, and you had to wear a period face mask over. And it was a little different trying to load your musket with a face mask. You had to take it off, put it on, and
I can see that. All right, well, let's see if we have any comments from our guests that are acceptable.
So I do have to ask one thing. There's not going to be any kidnappings at the wedding this time, is there?
No, but it's funny you mentioned that, Devin. I quite often get the person to be captured and tortured, and at the different reenactments, I've been told it's because I scream the loudest.
Well, I just know a little bit about the Mary Jemison raid and what occurred there and whereabouts the wedding is. So.
We're actually on Marsh Creek, where our site is. Mary Jemison lives about 4 miles up that creek where her statue is and everything. Where we're at is the Mason and Dixon Mary Penn Bed and Breakfast, and on their location, Mason and Dixon actually stayed there for 2 nights. It's on the historical records, and it's a pretty neat place, and I've run the reenactments there for 2 years in a row.
All right. Well, before we get into your games, I don't know how many people know that you are a reenactor. I know all your buddies do, like Devin, myself, and Mo, and some of the other guys, but not everyone knows that. And I grabbed some stuff. Hold on. That I wanted to just let people know. Everyone knows, well, not everyone, but a lot of people know about the World War II reenactors and everything else. But here's a picture. I don't know how long ago this was, but Bill, do you want to comment on this at all?
Sure. This is Tom Hinkleman is the native here in the Gilet, and then Snapping Turtle in the center, and then we have. I believe this is the Bloody Mohawk at Bushy Run, where we are doing photo shoots. And what's neat is many of these historic sites sell lock and load games. Fort Ticonderoga, Fort Ligonier, Bushy Run. And what's extra cool is Savage Wilderness. We had the help of Park Ranger Robert Ambrose at Fort Frederick and Dr. Walter Powell for Fort Ligonier. And they actually helped create the scenarios for that game.
Oh, nice. All right. And here's another one of you guys.
But yeah, that's just last week. And you see this little black handkerchief around me. When a tourist would come up to me, we had to pull those up over our face as we educated the tourists that, yes, that's a real fire. And I slept in there, and that stuff on the fire that we're cooking, we're going to eat for dinner. You'd be surprised how many people that come out from the city really are amazed how people lived in 1755.
Yeah, the AC got me. No AC. Hey, what did you cook? What do you cook when you go to these events, Bill?
Normally we have this big fella here is Tom Hinkleman, called the Mountain, or the BFI. You can figure out what the F part of that is. And he is a great hunter, and he will often bring to every event goose, deer, sometimes squirrels on a stick, 8-10 squirrels on a stick roasting over the fire. Some states we're not allowed to give the tourists, the visitors, any of our food, though, due to health regulations, especially, of course, now. But even in the past, they could see the cooked, meats. And so that's basically what we'd have over the fire.
Nice. All right, hold on. They want to know who is your guest. I guess, Bill, I'm going to let you explain who you are.
My name is Bill Molyneaux. I'm a reenactor, a miniature war gamer, and board game designer, and I have about 60 some odd war game titles out. Several with lock and load, some with $2 games, some with Worthington, and also with fast play war games.
And that's your newest publishing house with Peter Schultz, right?
Peter Schultz and I, we have little box games such as this one, War of 1812. And we made a 3-box set, the early war, the middle war, and the end of the war for 1812, similar to Savage Wilderness and Bloody Mohawk. And so that's what I'm just puddling around with some little quick games. And they're called fast play war games for a reason. They're not advanced squad leader style games.
And sometimes we just have to appreciate that.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the best letters, and of course some of my games do get picked on for being a little bit low on the complexity rating, but at Fort Ligonier, a father bought one of my games, not knowing anything about war games, for his 12-year-old son, and they actually sent me a letter that they started playing that every Tuesday night and played a scenario, and then they switched sides. And it was really neat because it was a handwritten letter also. It wasn't even an email form. So, and I get those reviews that some of my stuff might be a little too simplistic. Many of my products are being sold at tourist sites. They're not being sold to war gamers. So I'm trying to expand the hobby to people that don't even know what a war game is. I mean, I had someone bought one that thought it was a puzzle.
Mo's got a comment for you. Solid, quick playing, and fun games that Bill does. Don't overlook them. I agree. Okay.
Mo is awesome.
Let me see. David needs to have Lapland Tactical / tabletop on his 70-inch TV in the back. That's so right. 70-inch. That's kind of small, but okay. All right, gentlemen. Okay. Hey, listen, get your questions lined up. Okay. And I do have some more images.
I do need to put out a couple plugs. Fort Ticonderoga, Fort Frederick, both Rich Strum at Fort Ticonderoga and Robert Ambrose, the park ranger in charge of Fort Frederick. And all the other historic sites, Fort Ligonier, Bushy Run. Money is tight right now. They haven't been able to run their gift shops much. So if you need a Christmas present, consider going online. Their gift shops are selling things online. And I told them all that, they're selling my games. I said I'd at least give them a plug to see, if someone needs a hoodie or a T-shirt, think of them.
Bill, after the show is over, when you see it posted, put the URLs down for the shops. Or if you want to email me them really fast as we're talking, I'll put them up there on the bottom so they can be part of the show.
All right. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Here we have another picture for you.
All right. Do you see me here?
I see you.
I'm actually dressed as French milice. That's French militia. And this is at the Grand Encampment about 5 or 6 years ago. What they're doing is they're going through and making sure everyone's muskets are safe and you won't blow up somebody. Every one of the people in this line I know personally. And what is different on French Indian War reenacting compared to like Civil War is it's a much smaller group of people. I'm going to say 500 to 600 total. And most everyone uses Facebook. So, and the man right next to me here, his name is Lance Martin, and he's going to be my bartender next week at my wedding.
Nice. All right. And let's see what else. I have one more picture, I believe. Here you go.
Oh, that is my my son, Ethan Molyneaux, and he can do native also, but here he's dressed as a French Marine. I dress as a French regular, Regiment de Lorraine, the Queen's Regiment. But here you see Ethan is wearing a fatigue cap, and he is all in blue with no white. So this is what he'll be wearing at the wedding. in just 2 weeks, and we had to make sure he could walk around because he's never worn a sword. He usually has a short tomahawk here. So we had to have him walk up and down the street because we didn't want to end up on America's Funniest Videos with him tripping on this sword during the wedding. And, he's wearing buckled shoes. They're heavy. They're made out of, there's a wooden leather sole on the bottom. It's not like he's wearing Nikes. So I just wanted to make sure he was okay carrying that 4-pound sword on his belt. And he did fine. And later in the evening, he had to learn how to dance because he discovered he's got to do some dancing at night with girls.
Yeah. When I had to do that, I had to learn how to disco dance. That's how long ago that was.
Was it a polyester suit?
No, it was just as punk rock was starting to take off and disco was on its way out. But, public high schools are always behind the times. So. All right. Let me see. Where are we here? Tony's on board. Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Hey, Tony. Yes, Fort Ligonier. They have Fort Ligonier Days in October, and it's a huge reenactment. And this year, of course, they couldn't have Fort Ligonier Days. They were canceled because of COVID. And it's like all my historic sites, everywhere across the country, restaurants, your local bicycle stores. And it's very depressing with what's happening because historic sites are very low on the totem pole to get financial aid.
I'm surprised they're even on the poll for that, All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with Bill and talk about his games right after these short messages. All right. We do have somebody who wants to know about your games. Hold on. Tony had just another comment there real quick.
Fort Ligonier, yes, they have an incredible artillery train. The wagons that brought the artillery over the mountains. I don't know how many people are on the East Coast, but traveling over the Highland Mountains is quite the thing. Even right now in a car in the Pennsylvania Turnpike, you're going through tunnels. In 1755, trying to drag a siege artillery was real pain. Fort Ticonderoga has a large amount of artillery pieces, but Ligonier does have all the wagons and the extra cool things that helped bring those artillery pieces to Fort Decay.
How far what's the nearest fort to the WBC convention there, Bill?
Fort Ligonier or Fort Necessity.
Okay.
And Fort Necessity is more of a palisade of sticks with a little shed in the center that George Washington got his butt kicked at by the superior French forces.
All right. And how far do you think it is if someone wanted to come a day or two early to WBC but visit the forts for argument's sake?
45 minutes, maybe less.
Well, that's not bad. You would think Fort Ligonier is a little bit more of a family-friendly place to go compared to the other fort, or is it both interesting?
Both very interesting. Of course, George Washington started the French Indian War, and that's at Fort Necessity in Jumonville Glen. And then Fort Ligonier is the launching point for the final conquest of Pennsylvania.
All right. So here's what we've got here for you. We're going to start with Bill's. Well, Deb, you got any questions for him about his game designing or first game?
Well, one of the things that I've noticed really a lot about the Bloody Mohawk and Savage Wilderness battles is tiny, tiny footprints and lots of scenarios in them, and each one of them have their own historic map. You don't see that too very often. What made you decide to go for each scenario having its own historic map rather than just a couple generic maps and do the battles that way?
As you know, you have Battle Cry, Hold the Line by Worthington, and you have the generic map, and then you have to put those tiles down for everything. Memoir 44.
Yep.
Well, for me, I got a pain about putting all those little tiles down. 3 trees, and then a blank, and then you had to put a building. And I went with the concept of, can we make some small maps and have them pre-made? And the philosophy I'm going with is I'm trying to teach new war gamers, mom and dad and their kids at a historic site to buy a war game. And then they're going to go on and say, let's see in Lock and Load's catalog what else they have. And they'll move on to, let's say, a Wing and a Prayer. But we have to get people to start playing games, and a lot of great war games are out there, but they're not geared necessarily for, the 34-year-old mom and dad and a 12-year-old son. So this is a good way to get someone going and learning the hobby. And what's nice about especially Bloody Mohawk, it's the French Indian War in time. So you're starting off with the very first battle of Jumonville Glen, and then Fort Necessity. And as you go, the battles get larger, just like they did historically. So yes, the first battle, you only have 3 or 4 counters on the entire little map. And when you get out to the Battle of St. Foy, Plains of Abraham, you're dealing with 30 counters. By that time, the players have gotten used to the system and they're not overwhelmed. I remember getting Tobruk Avalon Hills tank-on-tank game when I was like 10 years old. And that's endless matrix of charts. And it's
buckets of dice, too.
So I hope that clear things up better.
Oh, yes, definitely. I think it's a great selling point, by the way.
I was going to ask you, but I just forgot it. Oh, inside both Bloody Mohawk and Savage Wilderness are pictures for the scenarios, and each of those pictures are actual reenactors.
Yes, they are, and the reenactors are very good friends of mine. In fact, Dennis McKibben here, he's right here. He's the best man in my wedding. Oh. And he's going to be my best man. Tom Hinkleman, he's a very famous, the BFI. And every page has a different set of reenactors. And I've tried to include them in my in each page. So you're going to see Dave Bybee, who's in charge of the French Marines in Western Pennsylvania. Lynn Otto, who commands the Augusta Regiment of Reenactors in Northern Pennsylvania. And then, unfortunately, we had a police officer who passed away, who was also a Highlander, and he was also served in the military. And he passed away unexpectedly 2 years ago. And I got to say, Lock and Load and David, you guys all did wonderful. You did a nice dedication to him. And he also sent his wife and family a beautiful print, framed, matted. And it was incredibly generous and heartwarming. And her family have it hung in their living room. And I don't know, at least once a week I hear from her of how much that means to her. He died at 52 years of age.
Wow. I think this is his picture from the back of the box.
Yes, it is.
There you go. Yeah, no, I'm really happy that we could do something. I'm glad the family is so happy with it.
And you guys just did fantastic. There we have Fort Ligoniers, 30 minutes from WBC.
There you go. Okay. The one thing that a lot of people don't realize is, so I'll point it out now, both Bloody Mohawk and Savage Wilderness have the same counters in it. It is not an error. Okay. We originally, Savage Wilderness was an expansion to Bloody Mohawk. And Bill and I were talking, and, you know, the people who go into these gift shops, a lot of them at the forts, they don't know what an expansion is or that they require this game. So what we simply did was double up in the counters and provide the same counters for both games. So it would, you know, not be any, have any confusion. If you guys are curious, this is the box cover for Bloody Mohawk. And who are the two guys on the cover there?
That is Tom Hinkleman and Greg Rearick. Tom Hinkleman is the one on my right. He's wearing the black gilet. And the other fellow is called Snapping Turtle. He's wearing spectacles, which were quite often used by natives. Natives in this time period, they've been trading with Europeans for nearly 200 years. They're wearing buckled shoes quite often. They have woolen clothes. They're not wearing hides. They're quite advanced. And believe it or not, very few are using bow and arrows in this time period. I mean, you're using a musket. You know, it's a rarity to have very many natives using a bow in the French Indian War period. And the Fort Frederick scenario, had a few people ask about that. Fort Frederick is a beautiful masonry stone fort in Frederick, Maryland. And Robert Ambrose runs that fort, but it was never attacked. The closest the natives and French ever got were around 8 to 10 miles out in a raiding party. But we did a hypothetical 30-turn campaign game as if it was attacked. And the park ranger himself came up with the entire backstory and how the units would arrive over several days. And I just wanted to point that out, that scenario really isn't mine. It's, I mean, I hope to with the map and all of that, but it's neat to actually have a historic site with a person that runs the site come up with the scenario for the game.
Bill, is that on Bloody Mohawk?
That's Savage Wilderness.
That's why I can't find it. Okay, hold on. And I'm just going to give you a nice blowout of that. Okay, hold on. Here it is. Give it a second to load. How's that, Bill?
That's awesome. And another quick thing is, you know, we've been talking about Fort Ligonier, and I have the Fort Ligonier here.
Hold on.
So you got Fort Ligonier. Well, you see this little map of Fort Ligonier, and it's a beautiful fort. Mrs. Knuckles, Dr. Knuckles, she runs the fort there. But at one time, Dr. Walter Powell was in charge of Fort Ligonier, and then he went on to he just retired from being in charge of Plymouth Rock. But Dr. Walter Powell helped make this map and go through the scenario. And he was phenomenal in helping, but let me tell you, this map is perfect. I don't know how many times Jose, is it, who's our artist who does our maps?
That was done by, I forget his name.
He's in Spain, I believe.
Spain, yeah.
Anyhow, I don't know how many times we had to change different items to make it perfect. So if any of the maps of any of my games, I know for a fact that map is perfect because Dr. Walter Powell himself must have set back 15, 20 reversions to me that I still have one tree was in the wrong hex still.
I just was noticing, man, when I was looking to find the map in our file list, I was like, wow, there's like 8 revisions here. So there you go. All right. Here's a look at the counters. Like I said, the counters are used in both games, so they're not exclusive to this. It's, again, not an error. I don't know if you want to explain a bit about the numbers on the counters or anything, Bill.
Sure. Well, we have the 1-7. I'm going to use here this 1-6. You're rolling a D10. And you basically have to roll 1 through 6, and you score a hit on the opposing counter. This number over here on the right, that's your movement value. So you can move 2. Up here where this artillery piece is, you see that red 2? That means if that artillery piece has to retreat, it can't retreat into woods, and it's eliminated. So you have the red identifying for woods, and then you'll also have a native counter, which will have that red will actually be green, and a green, you don't worry about woods. Natives move through woods just like they're moving in the open. When you do sustain a hit, your counter flips over, but you're not necessarily half strength. So a regular unit might be 1-8, and you flip it over for this grenadier, will become a 1-7. But a native unit, and here we have a French native unit at 1-6, when it gets hit and you flip it over, it'll be a 1-3. So different units are not reduced at 50%. They're reduced by the quality they are. So it's a neat little way I kept the quality of units. So some units, when they're reduced, their value is much lower than other units. So it was a simple way to have units have their grading value.
And these are some of the other maps from Bloody Mohawk. And how many snares are in Bloody Mohawk, guys?
12.
Okay. And how about Savage Wilderness?
We got 12, but the Fort Ligonier one goes on forever. You go 30 turns and you keep getting reinforcements for both sides as they flow in. And that's Fort Ligonier. And I don't know if you can see my cursor, but I'm usually sleeping right about here when I reenact there, because I'm French and they don't allow us French to sleep inside that fort. So we sleep out here in the artillery park and the bakery area.
All right. This is now the second game in this series. I'm trying to get this to scroll. There's Savage Wilderness.
Yep, and there's Tom Hinkleman and Dennis McKibben, and they're both going to be at my wedding, of course.
Now, I like to meet these guys. I like to take a trip down there. And
they're both pushing 7 feet in height, and when they're in their full kit and they come out of the woods, they do make you notice them.
That's why I'll have Devin in the front. And here's a map from Savage Wilderness. Now, the F's and the B's tell you where the French and the British units start, correct?
Correct. And what's nice about these is I know they're not huge. Not all my maps are large. I know someone who works for the NSA, and he actually has this in his desk. And on his lunch hour, they can't leave their desk very easily without having to pull down this leather thing and all kinds of stuff to not let anyone see what they're doing. And he'll play these little mini scenarios on his lunchtime. So, you don't always need something that's going to take, I have Avalon Hill, Stalingrad, and Russian campaign. It takes 3 hours to set them up now. People don't necessarily have the time for that.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things. And I'm going to break out. I'm not even sure if we have any, but so hold on. No, I don't have any of those. Okay, can't show you that one. Hold on. So what else can you tell us about about this series?
I think the best thing is you're teaching about the French Indian War. It's really our first World War. It ignites not just America, but it's the 7 Years' War. All of Europe is in flames with this. And most people know about D-Day. They know World War II. They know the Civil War. But the French Indian War has sort of gotten pushed to the back burners. And it was an incredibly bloody, and the war itself in Western Pennsylvania through New York State, it was bloody. The the natives would come over with the French through western Pennsylvania into, as far out as the Gettysburg and the Susquehanna River, and they would lay waste to everything. Franklin County, Pennsylvania, they hit one schoolhouse and killed, I believe, 21 children and 2 schoolmasters in less than 20 minutes. And then the militia chased them, and they ambushed the militia and killed all them. And there was one survivor who made it to a fort. So the French Indian War has a lot going on for it, but no one knows about it anymore unless you live in this region. Here in Pennsylvania, a little bit of Maryland and New York, there are still, I've had people say my great-great-grandmother was a captive.
Wow.
So, it's 5 generations out or whatever.
Now, those are the only 2 games we have. What do you think your worst design? You like that question? What do you think your worst design that you feel didn't meet your expectations?
My worst design, boy, that's an interesting question, and I'm gonna say the Gettysburg game that I helped make with our $2 game line was very, very mellow, and I think we really needed to add more to it, which Peter Schultz and I just revamped that. We also made an Antietam and a Newmarket game that we're working on. But I learned the lessons on the Gettysburg game was too simplistic. It really was.
All right. What do you think ask to flip the question the other way. What do you think one of your best designs were? I won't say your best designs because I think games are like everything else. Some things, it depends on the theme. But what do you think one of your best designs were? And you can hold a Bloody Mohawk or something.
Well, I have to say, concept-wise, Bloody Mohawk and Savage Wilderness, because you were so over the top and letting me put in pictures of reenactors in every page, and just let me do pretty much whatever I wanted, and having these little itty-bitty maps. And a lot of publishers, don't let you have that kind of control. And I'm reaching out. This French Indian War game that I designed called Wilderness Empires, and Grant Wiley and Worthington Games, those guys are fantastic there. But they used professional artists for the cover of their box, and the box looks phenomenal. But I think using the reenactors on the front of these boxes and bringing in that bit of realism makes those games a little bit cooler. And I have reenactor friends that never even heard of a board war game in their life. And I have some of these people have them mounted on their walls. They put them in picture frames.
Oh, I can't say that I'm honored to hear that.
So, in fact, the fellow with the miter hat, he has sent me pictures of, he has both of them on his wall right here, the old snapping turtle. And he's so I guess the willingness of Lock and Load, of letting the designer have a lot of creativity, is pretty cool.
Well, we always feel that the games are, they're not children, obviously, but they're kind of like children. And if you think about it, there's something you work so long on, and want to get a certain feel. And you know what? In the big picture, what does it really take the publisher to do? It's just a matter of giving you guys time to work on it. I know Blackwell worked on it and he enjoyed it. He liked the way the covers came out, and he was. I like the fact that there are real people behind it. It's not a black and white picture or no pictures because of the error, and you have no way to kind of get what's going on.
And yeah, I gotta say that I have different reenactors they'll say, hey, can I be in the next game? And I'm going to just put this out here. This is the Evil Augusta Regiment. The man leading them here is Lynn Otto, and he's part of my wedding party. But Lynn Otto runs several historic sites in Pennsylvania, and he's in both books. And I have had other people there in charge of regiments of reenactors going, hey, is Lynn paying you to be in that page? How come they got the full spread? I'm only a little 3x5 and he's got a half a page. And I have found it sort of funny when my different reenacting friends will ask me, like, how come, Lynn Otto is in that Augusta regiment? And the Augusta regiment is a Pennsylvania unit, and they always are capturing me and shooting at me, and it's always been good sport, but I'm always being captured and tortured in front of the tourists. So you have, but for board wargaming, and then I do miniature wargaming, and of course reenacting. So it's neat to hit the whole area of historical, the historical world, I guess. Now, if you want to start talking to me about Panzer IIIJs and stuff, I'm going to be lost. Okay, I leave the armor up to you guys.
Okay. I want to talk next about my favorite game that you've designed out of the ones I've played, and I haven't played all of them by far. But before I do that, Devin and I came up with an idea. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pop this up there now, guys. Okay. We're going to have a show special. It's only broadcasted on this show. I'm not going to post it on Facebook and everywhere else, guys. These are just going to be little either events or discounts. But this discount is on the air and bill 30. Okay. I believe it's a 30% off whatever the current price is. So if the price is already discounted 10%, you'll get an additional 10%. And if you happen to be part of our loyalty program, which we'll explain at a different time, you'll get an additional discount. So you could actually get 3 sets of discounts. The offer will end November 3rd, 2020. And if you don't watch this until after that, I'll just say what my mom would say, tough. Okay. So you got to catch it within that time frame. But it'll cover the 3 games that we currently have printed and available. They're in stock on Lock and Load. And if you have any problems or any questions, open up a support ticket. Darren knows what's going on and can help you. But this is just something we're doing because Bill was nice enough to come on, and we want to help promote the games. And we'll probably show this again before the end of the show. But there you go, guys. I'm going to leave that up for a little bit. Okay, this is from Mo. Yeah, I have to tell you, I don't think all the pictures made it into the game, if I'm not mistaken, right, Bill? So I have extra pictures.
Yes, you do. I have endless amount of pictures. Us reenactors love to have our pictures taken. Unfortunately, we don't get paid to have our pictures taken, and all of a sudden you'll find yourself in a magazine somewhere. My son and I were running through a battlefield with our musket, and he had his Warhawk, and we ended up on some pamphlet for a travel brochure for Winchester, Virginia. Tom Hinkleman ended up on the front page of Travel Pennsylvania Turnpikes, and no one's getting any royalty checks, but it is sort of neat.
All right. Well, as I was saying before, guys, my favorite game. The whole reasons we did the Battles on Demand. If you look at Lock and Load, you know we have Lock and Load Tactical, we have Nations at War and World at War 85 and some other stuff. But we had a problem where if you wanted to do a subject matter, like French and Indian War or a specific battle, you really, to go and do a print run like I would do for another game, you're going to have those games forever. Well, maybe not forever, but for a real long time. So we started this Battles on Demand where the warehouse prints up probably about 100 to 250 at a time. And then we keep the extra counters because that's the big thing we can't do is the counters. The rest of the stuff we do in-house. We have our own printing press. We have our own paper cutter, our own everything else. We have college kids, boys and girls, men and females, who are, will put the boxes together for us. And it lets us do subject matters that may not be quick to sell as many. Okay, one of these battles that I've always been interested in, but I've never really seen a game on it outside of a magazine game, is Wake Island. And you know, I really have enjoyed this game. I've played it quite a few times, and
Ed, that's what it looked like when I printed it myself, selling out of the back of my car, under $2 games. And when I started doing game designs and selling games, I would go to the reenactments, I would fight the battle, and then afterwards I'd go set up a little card table and I'd sell all these little Ziploc games. And then I was able to get into some of the museums and forts, and then big publishers actually like Lock and Load and Worthington and Schultz Games said, we'll publish your stuff. So
how did you and I meet to even talk about Bloody Mohawk? I don't even remember.
I do not remember. I was coming home from Old Bedford Village from a reenactment, and you called me.
Okay.
And I had my son in the back, and I said, I'm traveling over the Western Mountains, and you had my French Indian War battle pack that someone sent to you in the Ziploc bag.
I do have that, yeah.
Yeah. And the Wake Island game, you actually have my Tarawa version of that in your files to print at some point. And that was play tested by Mr. Smitty, Robert Smith of the War College. So he was my play tester and overseer on that.
Yes, and we will be printing that. We're not done yet with it, but it's on my. Let's see if we can find it now. Here are the counters to it.
Yeah, they're so much better than what I drew on Microsoft Word and what Peter worked on. We have our limitations. You have incredible artists, and
I have the Blackwell.
Yeah. So it's quite amazing the difference of counters. I mean, we were drawing these on a Microsoft program, and it's embarrassing to even look in this little Ziploc bag and see the difference in the counters.
That's not too bad, actually.
Those aren't very bad. Yeah, that's
little Avalon Hill style. And Peter Schultz, my sort of partner on this stuff, he would, we'd plug stuff along, and we had Jeff Valent at Superior Print on Demand would run off copies for me, and I'd take them to the events, and Peter would come up with new game things and designs with. So it was a marketing and selling program that worked pretty good. But I never saturated the actual wargamer market as much as the non-wargaming market. My marketing idea has been to go for people that don't know what war games are.
No, I mean, honestly, those starter kits that we make for our different games and stuff like that, is just for that reason. It's to let someone try it who plays war games and doesn't want to drop $60, $70, $80, $100 on something. And it's also for someone who doesn't really know what a war game is, and $15, that's not even McDonald's anymore. So, it's pretty fair. Here's oh, hit the right button. Those are some of the charts and tables from the game. And let me just get rid of this for a little bit, guys. Okay. And there's really quite a lot of remarkable things in this game. The thing that you can see that you're tracking different air points and bombardment. I'll let Bill kind of talk about the game. Here's the map, Bill. And I think one of the things I really like, I like the map on this, believe it or not, because it's an actual, I think it's an actual aerial photograph that I think Blackwell and Peter Schultz, I think Peter did it first.
Right.
And we modified a little bit after Peter did it.
So the large rectangles of the Imperial Japanese fleet basically your landing forces. You pick where you want to land, and you'll see these little lines. Those are the basic lines, and you're going to roll the combat value of your attack, and you're either going to disrupt and flip this unit over if it's in this zone. So as a Japanese player, you can pick the different areas you want to hit this beach. At the same time, you have bombardment rolls on the trackers. You have anti-aircraft batteries that are and these big 3-inch guns at these points that are firing at your Japanese trackers. So there's a lot going on in this game, and the complexity in this game is not a Bill Molyneaux complexity game. I don't know if I was drinking too much rum around the fire with the natives, but this actually has some teeth to it.
Yeah, like I said, and the Tarawa game is very similar to this.
Yes, it's almost identical, except for, I have a neat little thing like you have a destroyer roll where the destroyers, come right up the shore and, try to pound some of the pillboxes. But it's a very similar system, the same tracker system. So if when you get Tarawa produced, a person that likes Wake Island, they'll just be able to hop right over to Tarawa because it's the same exact system. In fact, the same combat chart practically and everything else.
All right, guys. You got any questions for Bill?
Well, I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
All right, I have about 500 World War II 144 scale 3D printed armored vehicles. Now, how can I take one of your rule sets and convert it so I can play a miniature battle using your armor rules?
There's a gentleman who might be watching. His name is Al Davis. He was the guy that did our index for the Lock and Load Tactical, World at War 85, I believe, and Nations at War. Amazing guy, because that index is just like blows me away when I go find things on it. He actually plays our game with his miniatures.
Okay, see, I have all these 3D printed vehicles, and they're still sitting in little plastic Tupperware boxes, and I figured I'd ask you guys.
Yeah, you can find him on Facebook easily. He actually also wrote the guide ASL to Lock and Load Tactical. So if you're an ASL guy, you're trying to learn the system, some of the things are a little bit more common. If you're familiar with ASL, this will help you transition over.
Al has also done a fabulous job of statting out most of the vehicles that we haven't introduced into Lock and Load Tactical yet. And I will say that his work has helped me stat out some of the vehicles that I've needed to include that we haven't had statted out before. So he does a phenomenal job at behind the scenes stuff for Lock and Load Tactical.
Yeah, no, he definitely has helped us quite a bit.
Uh-oh.
That's my oldest son. That's the Joker, and there's a good reason why that sound is when he texted me. And okay, well, guys, do we have any other questions for Bill? Devin, you got any questions you want to ask him?
I don't. He basically covered everything, and I just touched on the bases of how much I really like the small footprints and the small maps that go along with all of them.
Well, we have the old. Now, Struggle for New France is that's made by Schultz Games, and if you need a game for the entire French Indian War and campaign style, that is out there too. That I have. That's about 3 pages of rules. Of course, the Worthington version is much more advanced, though. And
now, what's the name of yours and Peter's new venture?
Our new venture is just called Fast Play War Games, and it's a pure hobby thing. I don't even check my reviews. I'm making some games, and I'm selling them here and there. I got some at Fort McHenry now because the War 1812 set, and they're not super fancy. Our maps are, we're making everything on Microsoft Word. but I'm happy with them. You know, they're inexpensive. You can so yeah, it's a hobby for me. I sell Cheerios for a living.
I saw some of your displays more than once, buddy.
I can't put those on social media anymore.
What?
Oh, everything's become, you know, you can't do things anymore. Everything's become bad.
Really?
Yep. It's there's people out there that may not like Cheerios, and
so because they may not like Cheerios, you can't promote the work that you're breaking your child.
Correct, because if someone said, well, I had Cheerios and they made me sick and they posted on my Facebook feed, I can't respond to that because I'm a company employee for General Mills. So that's why we're no longer supposed to post anything about our products in that sense, without hashtags and explanations and stuff. So it's just easier just not to post pictures of my super duper giant Cheerio displays or Frankenberry, Count Chocula, and Boo Berry for this time of year.
But if I go out and I post them, I'm not an employee.
That's true.
All right. Hey, one of the other things we're going to be looking to do, guys, is to bring all 3 games that we've been talking about tonight on Tabletop Simulator. Okay, so you will be able to play them. You will have to own the game in this case because the scenarios are in the manual. But if you do own the games and you're looking to play by yourself online, and you're in a hotel room, traveling for work, or whatever the case might be, you can break it out, and that includes Wake Island. But you can get our list of games. I'll find our list of games there. I'm sure Devin or myself will let you guys know once it's available.
Mo had a question there also.
Oh, I don't want to hear that then.
Oh, Mo has great questions. He was a Marine.
All right. What does it say?
As long as he eats his crayons first, yes.
Hold on, Mo. What's your question? When is it's out yesterday, Bo. Come on, get with it, man. I have a printing schedule that would make even the government impressed. So
wow.
I am not going to even pretend to tell you a date, but I will say that I will give a little break of something that I'm not going to say much on because I don't have the rest of the stuff. But we have this Korea game coming out. It's on the Battle for the Chosen Reservoir. It's by Nathan. What is Nathan's last name? Henson. I knew it wasn't that complicated. But we will have that coming along as well. We've made some really big strides with some printers, and so you're going to see things moving a little bit quicker in our realm of the woods there.
Cool. And are you keeping Darren busy in the warehouse?
I have not seen Darren outside to pick up things he wants me to double check in forever. I used to see him every day, and we used to talk, and we don't really get that as much now because he's down there at the warehouse doing the printing, and I'm over here supposed to be working on contracts and working on the new store and working on, I don't even remember all the other stuff. So
contract's the biggest thing you're supposed to be working on. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
just saying.
See, that is you, but when I talk to Darren, he's got a whole different agenda list.
Oh, I know he's got a whole different agenda.
And he's closer.
He is.
Well, I just want to say thank you, fellas, for having me on here. And most importantly, one last quick story on my game books. Dennis McKibben here, who is his head is here. In one of the first cover pictures that you guys sent me, his head was actually cut off, like the Monster Inc. picture with the little green guy. And Dennis actually calls me up and says, my head's cut off on that rule book. Is that how I'm going to be? And, Blackwell, of course, got that fixed right away, but we still joke about that. Dennis's head was almost cut off in the production line.
Oh, there were a lot of tomahawks back then, so.
Well, hey, thanks for having me on here. I know the French Indian War is not the biggest in the world of wargaming that people are into, and I think you could produce a new Arnhem or Bastogne game every month, and it still sell like hotcakes.
Well, I think it's like anything else. The more games we get on the subject matter, companies. I mean, I know GMT has French and Indian war games, and so does Worthington. I don't know about Compass Games, and they're and they tend to do these subjects that you normally would not get from a lock and load type of company. I don't have the bandwidth to produce on the level that these guys are producing on.
David, what made you decide to take a risk on some weird French Indian war games?
If I remember properly, someone sent me that first French and Indian war game, and I looked at it, and there was many. I don't know how long ago. I looked at the graphics, and I was like, "Wow, the graphics need to be updated," but it's not. That's not bad. And we had a lot of people ask us because of Lock and Load Tactical and the starter kits. Do we have any easier games they can play with their sons, 8, 9, 10 years old? And I said, shamefully, no. I didn't have anything.
Okay.
And I just said, someone had sent me the game and said, what about this? I looked at it, and I don't remember how I tracked you down, your phone number, but I remember calling you. And, I'm at an age now, 55, where I don't want any aggravation or stress. I got a family for that, and they're very efficient at it. And so working with you was, really was a piece of cake. I mean, I asked you for things, you gave them to me, you had to change. We had Blackwell or myself make the change, and it just was a very smooth process.
Well, what's cool about my little manuals, if you're a miniature war gamer and you're using muskets and tomahawks or another rule system for miniature wargaming, you can take my scenarios, trade a counter out for the 10-man unit or the 5-man unit, and you actually have scenario booklets for your miniature wargame tabletop battles. I know someone right now has a Kickstarter of a French Indian War rule set in miniatures, and he's tied our games into that. So when they buy their Kickstarter figures and his rule book, he's already linked Bloody Mohawk and Savage Wilderness. So it's a multi-layered system.
Yeah, one of the things Al wants to do is we want to, in World at War 85, we put, and this was again great help from Al Davis. We have these cards, and these cards are used for basically two different things. One is you don't have to keep leaning over the table. If you have a certain unit, T80 for argument's sake, or whatever the equivalent would be, you can literally look at this card and know all the combat factors of this unit without having to go pick up the counter and look at it. Also on there, it tells you all the ranges for the board game. On top of that, we've added ranges for different miniature sets. So you can tell, I can go these many inches or these many hexes or at this millimeter or this millimeter and this millimeter. My personal gripe with miniature rules is it's even less cohesive than board games. You get a hex, I can go 6 hexes, you move your 6 hexes. But depending upon the size of your miniatures, all that changes.
Yeah, your different scales.
Yeah, so that drives me crazy. And of course, no one can set on a side scale. And just when you think you have them all down, somebody would come up with something different. But those cards really kind of makes it easy. I think actually on those cards, we left the column blank. So if you decided to play some, I'm going to use the word oddball size miniatures that are not standard, you can put that size in there and then write them in yourself.
Right. I'm using 54 millimeter for my Korean War miniatures right now, and they're 3-inch, 2.5-inch size figures. They're like your old,
like your old 54 scale is really big.
They're really big, and I have some T34s, and I'm doing Pork Chop Hill on this gigantic table with 2.5-inch size figures. because I'm getting old and I can't paint 15 and 28 millimeter figures anymore.
Yeah, so that's another thing too, guys. If you have this and you're older, you have grandchildren, these rule books are in 12 points. So the rule book may look thicker than it really is. The rules are very, I'm not going to say simple, but they're very quick to read and play. So you don't have to worry about, if you're old school word gamer, for your 8 or 6 point font games and not being able to read them. These are nice and easy to read. So,
and we did have another last question from Byron here.
Hold on, let me throw Byron's question up there.
How much do movies influence some of your design decisions? Actually, not that much in the world of movies as much as reenacting. Cartoon is a great movie, but I haven't made a game or designed on it. Being there, I'm a reenactor. I've actually fought as a reenactor and camped at most all of these sites. Even Jumonville Glen, I got to camp at once. So it gives me a different feeling than a lot of game designers, because I've actually have had to climb the wall at Fort Ligonier, and I got dragged through the front door of Fort Loudon, and also had to camp at some of those places in the most terrible weather you could ever imagine, saying I'm such an idiot for being out here in the snow. Reenacting doesn't always, it's not always fun. There's times you think this is stupid.
Okay. Jim, I saw your other question. I'm just going to get to it once I'm done with Bill, so I don't, because we don't want to keep him up too late. Jim, these are great games to introduce your son to. If he's never played a game, I introduced my nephew Jesse to these introductory war games, and before you know it, he's playing Panzer from GMT. I'm like, oh, what does all these mean? He goes, oh, okay, Uncle Dave. He starts pointing these things out. This is a kid we can't get him to read a school book to do a book report to save his life, but he's got Panzer down, so I know he can do it. So yeah, no, these are, and even if you don't have a young kid or a grandson, or they're fun games to play. And what Bill was saying too, these are great to take. I mean, Tank on Tank, in my opinion, falls in this category too. They're games you can just take, slide into your bag, play at lunchtime. You can definitely get a game done on most of these scenarios, and or probably with the exception of Fort Ligonier, that's not going to get done at lunchtime. But the rest of them you can get done as you're eating, put it back in your bag, and go back to work.
Any other questions out there?
Come on, guys, you're making me look bad.
I thought there'd be a reenactor out there. I put some stuff out on my Facebook page, Bill Molyneaux's Facebook site. Oh, just so you know, there are 2 Bill Molyneaux in the world. The other Bill Molyneaux owns IMEX. They are the largest manufacturer of toy soldiers and remote control tanks in Florida.
What?
Bill Molyneaux, the other Bill Molyneaux, I have met several times at conventions, but we're not related. And we do post on each other's Facebook to mess with each other's friends and relatives. So I do have some of his remote control Tiger tanks.
Yeah, I heard that I saw that you were either putting them together or you were doing, I remember you were working on something like that.
Yeah, I have a 1/6 scale G.I. Joe scale Stuart tank. Lisa bought it for me. She thought it was remote control. It was not. It was static, and I went to a local remote control place not knowing what I was doing. I bought a batch of junk, and after three and a half months, I had the thing clanking down the street with her yelling at me that all the neighbors think I'm crazy. And it does make a lot of noise. It's the size of a car hood. I mean, it's really big. I mean, it's G.I. Joe scale, and it was not easy to put together.
Yeah, I remember you posting about that. All right, guys, if you don't have anything else for Bill, we'll let him go. Bill, can I thank you for being on?
It was really fun to be on here, and all the people out there that like to design a game and just haven't, you can use Microsoft Word, make a hex pattern, make up some homemade counters, and you'd be surprised on how easy it really is. You could use Blackwell, though, to help out with the counters and the maps. So, hey, thanks, fellas.
Hey, when we get Tarawa ready, we'll have you back on, buddy.
And November 14th, look for the pictures on Facebook, the French Indian War wedding.
Yes, definitely let us know. We'll post some of those too. Oh, wait, we got maybe have one more question. Let me see. Oh, no. Okay.
That's not for Bill.
No.
Okay, give us a second. We'll hit that, Bill. I'm gonna let you go.
All right. Good night, fellas.
Good night, buddy.
Thanks for showing, Bill.
Okay. Hi all. Can't stick around to, but we wanted to ask this if you get around to this topic. What's happened with locking the tech? Okay. Things changing there. Yes, they're not so much that changing. Stefan, who is our, what we like to call him nicely, our editor-in-chief now, our get it right or he kicks me in the ass guy.
Our editing guru.
Stefan, him and Blackwell have updated all the companions. So if you buy one of the new companion booklets, which are not listed on the store, but if you buy a module rules and scenario booklet, they are the companion. I just haven't had a chance to update it. And I will get to that. It's just a name change. It's same barcode, same price, same everything, but they will have all the new, or I shouldn't say new, updated unit costs. Okay. There was some units that got missed or didn't exist when the original book was made. And so now they're being put into the companion books, but they will also be updated to the battle generator. And since we're on the battle generator, Tom is working on that for Locking with Tactical Digital. It will not be a one-for-one copy. Tom will do something, if you guys are familiar with Steel Panther's World at War, how you used to be able to generate a battle, it'll be something like that, where you'll pick a point cost, you pick the type of meeting engagement, the computer will select the maps, the computer will select other things, but I think you can select the weather, day or night battle, stuff like that. And then you buy your units and you'll get 4 setup areas. But that's for the computer game. The board game, I don't believe are changing. If the rulebook does get an update, it will be more just for clarification purposes, not that there's anything broken yet that I'm aware of. Hope that answers that question for you, buddy. Okay. Anybody have any other questions? I think Jim did. Here you go, Jim. Speaking of typical and vassal, any chance that Don's Roulette will be added to the TN and vassal to discover the game? The object is to put them all on there. So I would go with the quick answer of yes. It comes down to me having enough time to put the files in the folder, to give them to Uwe, for Devin then to bother Uwe to put them up. And go.
No, I more have to bother you to get the files up. Once Uwe gets them, he's a genius with them.
Uwe is incredibly fast.
He is. Oh, he is.
Have him get the files. I wouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, we just need him to get the files. What's up with that?
It's on the list.
And we know the list.
Yeah, I mean, the list is just astronomical. Okay, guys. What else do we want to talk about?
Did you want to go more over the Chosun Reservoir game? I know you touched on it briefly a little bit ago.
Yeah, I don't want to go over too much because I don't have anything else to show besides the banner.
Gotcha.
I should have the map and the other stuff later on. Hey, good night, buddy. No problem there. Yeah, I'm not 100% ready. We're going to have quite a bit of interesting news over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to say. Maybe next week, maybe the week after, but you're going to be seeing some quite interesting stuff going by between the printed deal and some other things that we're working on.
Some other big things we've been working on the last week. Well, David's been working on. I just kind of and doing my tactical thing, and
Yeah.
he's running the company.
Don't let him fool you. I bang so much data off this guy. I'm telling you, I can hear him say, "Oh my God, he's on the phone again." He doesn't actually say that to my face, but I can tell from the sound.
I don't say that. The wife and the roommate might say that, but I would never say that. I love talking with you. You know that I keep answering the phone, don't I?
Well, maybe it's the alternative.
Nah, I enjoy talking with you. So,
all right. Okay, so let me just see what I got here on stuff. I hope you guys like that. It's a little bit different with the reenactments and stuff, and it was great having Bill on. Okay, so
Grey Wolf has a good question.
Okay, why do I not see Grey Wolf's question? Oh, right. I missed all these questions. Okay, should I purchase the Battleground 2.0 or wait for the update? Technically, when you buy the book, you get the download for free, I believe. So the download automatically gets updated, which means you'll just have to re-download it. If you want to have a printed copy, then I would wait. And I will tell you this right now, it's not going to be long because Blackwood literally was making all those changes today in that book. And I think we're just waiting for, believe it or not, this is not happening often, but we're waiting for Stefan to catch up.
Well, Stefan has been going through the companions like a beast, getting them all up to date. Yeah, he finished them last week.
I think they finished Heroes of Normandy.
Yeah, Normandy was the final one because there was some stuff that was missed in the first go.
All the companions of the core games. There are no companion books for their expansions. Okay. And they weren't needed as much simply because they were done by us initially. A lot of the errors were unknown errors that got carried over from the original owner to us, not knowing that they were all there.
From He Who Shall Not Be Named.
And I'm sure some of them we introduced too, just based on what we were doing. But if you get any of the companion books, all the scenarios have been updated, or any corrections are there. So that's pretty much, and you don't need the update because there is a clarification and correction book for Lock and Load Tactical and another one. And the purpose of that was for those who didn't want to have to buy the board game to play online. So it's a way of getting, let's say, a loose digital license. Okay. So that is what that is there for. Okay. So I hope that answers Grey Wolf your question. Private public. Oh dear God, you sound like Blackwell now. Okay. We are close. I'm just trying to break up my time to get all this stuff done. Once we're ready, if I know by 12 o'clock on a Thursday we're ready, I bet you by 3 o'clock it'll be live. Okay, maybe the next day, but that's pretty much what we're looking on. Okay, and this one's for you, Devin Babe.
Yep. A lot of it comes down to a lot of people learn through watching or participating, less so than reading a rule book. I have a horrible time trying to learn a game through the rule book. I have to actually get down in the dirt and get my fingers on counters and start pushing stuff around and watching videos. That's the best way I learn. I find a lot of people are that way. And yeah, that's the whole purpose of Friendly Fire, is just to get people familiar with the system, seeing it played. Because aside from a few videos online, there's not a lot of videos out there on Gimpy has done the boot camp, which is a fantastic series. But there's a difference between that and actually seeing the game live between two people. And that's one of the reasons we wanted to get the Friendly Fire series out there. The first scenario, it's just easing Johnny and I into it, making sure we got all the basics down, because yes, even I miss the basics sometimes. But we are going to be moving into more advanced stuff. We're going to be moving armor, ordnance, artillery, all that good stuff. It's just give us time to get there. So.
Okay. Hey, Ron, how you doing, buddy? He wants to Lock and Load Tactical Civil War module, American Civil War, do you mean Lock and Load Publishing American Civil War module, or you mean actual Lock and Load Tactical Civil War module?
I'm not sure tactical would work for a rank and file
Lock and
war
Load Tactical,
game.
I can pretty much tell you, nope, not going to do it. Okay. If you're talking to just us releasing a Lock and Load Publishing Civil War series or a Napoleonic Civil War series, I'm just going to say pay attention. It's coming. You may see your news for that sooner than you think.
Napoleonics, American Revolution.
Yeah. So the companion is different from Lock and Load Tactical Compendium. It isn't out yet. Yes, the compendium, for those who've been following Lock and Load for years, before I got it, there was a magazine called Line of Fire.
Line of Fire, yeah.
Magazine. I just felt we had a lot of complaints from people. I should say a lot of we had some complaints where, you know, it was All Things Zombie scenario, one Lock and Load Tactical scenario, two, and maybe something on World at War.
The World at War stuff, yeah.
And so some people didn't care anything about the other stuff and just wanted the All Things Zombie. And the magazine back then was, I think, I don't know, $50, $60. I really don't remember. And, you know, they only wanted that one thing, and they're kind of stuck, you know, doing the whole thing. And so we kind of got rid of that and put all the Lock and Load tactical stuff, which was the most of the scenarios, and we broke them into two sets of compendiums. Some of them, I think all of them but one, has some maps in it. There are no additional counters. Okay, those counters got put into the games if there were additional counters when we reprinted them. So yeah, so the compendium is not the companion. The companion used to be called Module Rules and Scenarios, and Stefan, like a good editor, kind of gave us a slap in the backside and said, "Hey, why are we making something so complicated? Why don't we do this?" And so we renamed it Companion. If you get one of those books, you'll see in small print underneath the word companion, it says formerly known as Module Rules and Scenarios. And going forward with the new games, or if we reprint any of the old games, such as Heroes of Normandy, we are going to use the companion book as a Module Rules and Scenario book, which means, and I'll just get this to show you guys. Okay. Let's see, which one do I have here? Okay. This is the companion book for Heroes Against the Red Star. And as you can tell, it's a little bit different, but the cover and everything else stays the same. If you look really close, you can see it says formerly known as the Module Rules and Scenario book. Okay, so what has really changed in this? Okay, the scenarios have been updated. So if there was a mistake, you get the same scenarios. They're not changing on you. We didn't add any scenarios. So the scenarios are the scenarios. But what did get changed, and then again, this was to aid more for you guys playing online. Okay, but it's also a great way to, you know, if you have the charts and tables in the game and you have one of these, you can each hold the thing up. We modified and updated the turn record track. And one of the things, I believe it was Stefan or you, Devin, who made up the new.
It was Stefan that did the new squad breakdowns.
Yeah, so it's just really better organized, in my opinion, that way. And give a stop there. We also included the terrain effects chart. Okay, sorry about this, guys, because I'm trying to angle it for the stupid camera here. But it fits on 8.5 by 11. It's not the 11 by 17 that comes in the game. But again, it's so you can, you know, read it there.
It's more complete charts and notes and everything that you need that will assist in using it as your digital license.
Right. And we also added the new 5.1 charts and tables in there. So even in, because obviously, you know, these are perfectly fine for 5.0, 4.2, 4.1, 3 point, whatever that was, and so forth and such, going backwards. Okay. So on top of the charts and tables and stuff, it also has the new close combat, the new artillery, and I'll just put this in there, guys. If you are happy with the way artillery was, these can be considered optional, but you know, we're going forward as they're not optional. The computer game will add them, but we're going to put a checkbox so you can add as an optional rule too, just for those. The standard one is right there. So if you're, used to playing with it, everything defaults to that. One of the nice new charts, again, not really a rule change, is it was the fate of the crew. I can't read it. Okay. And
again, that was something Stefan pushed that we put in.
Right. We also added and tried to add any charts and tables that were in the game. So I can't read this backwards, guys, but like streams and movement penalty table. It's actually in the rule book, but was never on an actual table. I don't really think that was a mistake. But it's there. But everything should be, all the charts and tables should be here now. We even put the vehicle optional
speed, size, and speed modifiers. Yeah.
And I believe those were on the other. Wasn't that on the turn record track, or was that just in the modular rules?
Yeah, it was on the turn record track.
Okay.
That was on the turn record track.
And there's also an expanded sequence of play. It's 2 pages long. It does. The big thing with this, it has tons of rule references. Even the modifier. When you're looking at, I didn't kind of show that.
And we did that with all the 5.1 player aid cards.
Okay. It's not just in here. When you look at the modifier, there's a rule number for each option. So if it says only applies to assault move, you'll have a rule number to go back to it.
And that was fun to track down all those.
Yeah. Devin and I mean, we weren't going to get divorced working together during that. I feel pretty comfortable with our relationship now. Okay,
lots of alcohol helped.
Okay, we also put the skill reference card, or cards, I guess, that are in the game are all listed in the book. Yep. And again, they were all updated. They're all perfect from what I can tell from Stefan. If you want the cards, you go to Word Game Vault, okay? And you can buy any pack of cards. They're only a couple of bucks. It's exactly what's in this book on these cards, but they come in regular size playing cards, and you can use those if you want to. And the last but not least, what we did was we put the unit cost chart for the battle generator in here as well. Okay. So, and these go on for a few pages also. Okay. So that's what the companion books are. I will get a battle generator, which is not in my little area over there. And again, we don't want you to have to buy the board game to play only online. It just seems to be a little, abusive, I guess, to our customer base. And honestly, it took me a long time to come up with a system that would work. And this is what we basically did. Okay. Ron is asking about publishing. Yeah, there is very, very soon you're going to see some stuff there. That's all I'm going to say now. Yep. Stay tuned, Ron. Okay. Grey Wolf had another question. Hey, Grey Wolf, you do not need the companion to play the games. Here's the exceptions or considerations, I'm going to say. I'm not going to say the word exceptions, okay? They are updated more from the book, from the games, because the game books have got to be at least 2, possibly 3 years ago when we reprinted everything, okay? So that's one. So if you want, just don't have to look at errata, don't have to look at anything that's wrong. That's one thing. 2, all the new charts and tables, as I just went through, is in this book. You can buy just the 5/1 play rate cards and get them on cardstock and have them shipped to you, and it's cheaper than the companion book. Okay. The only other reason you may want them is, like I said, if you already have the game, we put on Tabletop Simulator 1 scenario from each game on Tabletop Simulator. So you don't need anything to play. So technically, people, if you just want to try it, you can download the core rules, go on Tabletop Simulator, and play the 1 scenario we made available. Each game has its own scenario. The exception to that is the starter kit, which has 4 scenarios. Right? 4?
4, yeah. 2 Vietnam, 2 World War II.
Okay. With the book, you don't need anything else. You can literally go online and play every scenario that comes in the board game with just buying that book. So you can use it on Vassal. You can use it on Tabletop Simulator. I do not expect that we're going to put all those games on Tabletopia. We just didn't like the graphics, just didn't cut it for us. Once you got everything on there and how to zoom in and zoom out, it just wasn't all that great. Okay. Chat, where's Northern Pacific? Okay, chat. I thought it was the next game coming out, but I was wrong. Okay. It's Heroes in Defiance, Battle Pack 1.
Which should have been out today, I was told.
Yes, you're right.
I'm just saying.
I think their time is done. I think it's Mark. We have to make that extra.
Get the mask and the maps right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And also, I think that's exactly what Tom said.
Yeah. He's got some. I know he's got some of them done because some of the scenarios listed in the developers edition have got the binoculars that they've already, but not all of them have got the new updated point-to-point maps.
Yeah, so you should see Heroes in Defiance very, very, very soon.
Very soon.
And even then, some of it will use the old line of sight and just until the maps get put in. Okay, and then you'll see them change.
Yeah.
And then they'll use the point-to-point like you're used to playing on the board game. Okay, and then what's the other thing? Oh, so I believe Heroes of the Pacific is the one that Tom is going to do next. Okay, because it's either one of two things. I think it's either that, or it's going to be Heroes Against the Heroes of the Motherland. But I believe Tom said there's a lot of maps there, and since Mark is already behind on converting the maps, I think he's going to move over to Heroes of the Pacific. Okay. And Rough Swordsman, how you doing, buddy? Well, you're up late.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. What is the difference between the old Heroes of Normandy, which I have, and the new Heroes of the new edition? Okay. The Heroes of Normandy, do you mean Band of Heroes, Rough Swordsman, or you mean?
No, he's actually talking about the current Heroes of Normandy. We've talked a little bit about the next edition of Heroes of Normandy, but I think that's what he's asking about.
Okay. Here's the surprise. We are going to make a new edition of Heroes of Normandy. We will probably keep the same name. What we're going to do is we're considering adding all the expansions into it. And we're considering having all the artwork updated by Ivan. Okay, because Nico, as many of you know him, and Nicholas Escuvier, his artwork is great. We just want to it's not all by the same guy because it was done during different time periods. So we want to update everything. We want to kind of update some of the leader names so they match our fans. Okay, so if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and pop out, go into our forums. There's a forum under Lock and Load Tactical. Under the board game, you can add your picture.
There's a sticky. It's real easy to find.
Real easy to find, and there's no charge, there's no fee. People have asked me, that was done before I bought the company. They used to charge a fee for that. That's not being done by us. We just want to put the guys in there. Now, before the next person asks, what happens if I own the compendium and you have the old leader names in the scenarios and you change the leaders' names? In the companion book, or what we used to call modules and scenarios, we're going to have a little chart. Sergeant Smith is now Sergeant Rock. Sergeant Simpson is Sergeant Paulson. Whatever it gets changed to, we'll just simply do that and give you the little thing in the back of the book. You're only going to need it if you get the newer game. If you don't get the newer game, it's not going to matter because it's already going to match. Okay, so what is different? If we go through with what we said, and we're still considering it, okay, we're going to be adding the Canadians to the game. Okay, so there'll be a sheet of Canadians with scenarios for them, as well as any scenario that should be Canadian that we tell you just use the British. Okay, we'll change to the Canadian side, the Canadian pieces. We're going to add, there's a gentleman working on a French, well, he's done it actually. Free French units, half a sheet, another half a sheet of Free French resistance. Okay, so we're going to add some scenarios for that. Am I missing anything, Dev?
We are also, and this is kind of something that's stuck in both David and my crowd. We're going to be changing the color of the Luftwaffe.
Oh yeah. Yes, I had nothing to do with that. I take no blame for that. I inherited that color. We will change the Luftwaffe color to something less offensive.
Something less neon blue.
Yes, you will not need to wear shades to play your games.
There's also some talk about maybe some a little historical map being included that's a certain someone is working on, but I don't want to say anything because we're still in the initial stages of that. But yeah, basically Nouvelle, We Stand Together Alone. What was the other one? There was 3 major expansions we had for Normandy.
We Stand Alone,
Nouvelle,
The Untold Stories.
Untold Stories. Yeah, those we're going to be combining all those into the base Heroes of Normandy. We're thinking maybe Heroes of Normandy Gold, Heroes of Normandy Plus, or maybe just not even changing the title. But there's going to be a lot new stuff.
On Heroes of Normandy Squad Leader Edition.
Advanced Squad Leader Edition.
No,
I personally would like to see all the compendium scenarios put in there, but then by the same token, a lot of the compendium scenarios also require you to own multiple products, and we really don't want you to do that. So we may look at some of the compendium scenarios that just require Heroes of Normandy maps and include them. Maybe not. We're just this is just kind of we're in the spitballing phase right now. What we want to commit ourselves to painfully and what we don't want to commit ourselves to painfully.
Hey guys, I'm gonna take one more break here. 1 second. Okay. You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, I was. I mean, I know what it was. I have it. Dan Pencaldi did a wonderful job for my intro for my original Grognard, my YouTube channel. However, it is about 2 years old, and I like changing things up sometimes. And David was more than kind to sit down and work on that with a new movie program that he's gotten himself hooked into. So it's just a little something I'm going to change at the beginning of my videos. So no disrespect to Dan. Dan's intro for me was wonderful. It's just I need to change, and that's what. And 2 years from now, I'll probably change it again. So.
Yeah, and basically, Dev, you know what? I'm going to run out. My wife needs me for 2 seconds. Why don't you explain what your channel does and a little bit? I mean, I know a lot of people do know, but maybe some don't. And
okay. Well, yeah, I'll give a little bit of history behind who and what the original Grognard is. Yes, I know technically it's supposed to be pronounced Grognard, but I am neither English nor French. I am an American, and I'm going to pronounce it in the classic American butcher everything bastardized language. So no offense to my Anglo-Saxon and Francophile companions and friends. It's just the way it is. I started off as a little as part of a podcast called Panzer Funk Radio about 5 years ago, I guess it was. And I'm not going to name the site where it came from because it's one of the sites that's wretched hive scumability of the internet. But Panzer Funk Radio is still out there. If you go do a Google search, you'll get Panzer Funk Radio, and you can find some of our old episodes. I was part of like the first 12 episodes. In that, I decided, you know what? We've got this account. I'm just going to go ahead and make up the Grognard's Corner, because the group of guys that I was involved with Panzer Funk, I was the oldest, and they always called me the Grognard. But he's a good Grognard. He's not like the old rivet counter, mean, uppity, grumpy Grognard. He's a good. So I just decided OG, original gangster, OG, original Grognard. Just kind of slipped into that. And then I got hooked into Kevin over at the Big Board. And he actually kind of gave me the impetus to shift from podcasting into video casting. And I realized, wow, this is really easy. I can actually do this. And so I kind of segued away from the podcast into the video cast. And my YouTube channel, The Original Grognard, which of course can be found on YouTube, I mostly cover old school games. I'm an old school gamer. I am OG. Okay, you know, there are a couple of people saying, well, I'm 70 years old. It's like, congratulations, you're 70 years old. I'm over 50 and I've been gaming for over 40 years. I think I've earned the stripes to be able to call myself the original Grognard. Most of my channel is covering old school Avalon Hill, SPI, victory games. I love the old school games. And so we see unboxings, although I don't know if you can call them unboxings because the games have been out for 30, 40 years. But then I'll sit down and I'll play through a lot of the older games, you know, what are some of the ones I've done? Conquistador from Avalon Hill, Up Front, that was a real popular one. I did Wolfpack from SP. I just love the old style. Now, that's not saying I don't do the newer stuff, because I do the newer stuff as well, but a majority of my focus is on the old school, from what I could consider the golden age of wargaming, because a lot of people we're getting younger and younger people in the community, and less that are Dave and I's age. We're going to lose all that at some point. I mean, even over the last 5 years, I can name off half a dozen luminaries of the old school gamers that are no longer with us, and we're losing our history. And part of me focusing on these older games is try to preserve what history we have left. So, and that's basically what the OG is.
All right. I just want to talk about this, guys. This is really more Devin talking about it, me just hitting the button here. You got the update for that, so update away.
Yeah, so far as I know, we are scheduled, Keith and I are going to be doing 2 World at War 85 Storming the Gap scenarios, one on Friday, one on Saturday. So Friday the 13th, I think it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We are doing an introductory scenario, kind of like what we did at the Armchair Dragoons. It's going to be, you don't need to know the rules. We're going to have 5 positions open. If you want to come in, learn the game, that we're more than welcome to have you. Keith will be there. I'll be there. So we're going to be able to teach you the game. On the 14th, on Saturday afternoon, we're going to have a more advanced scenario for people who know the system more. Keith and I were talking about it, and we decided it's like, yes, it's great that we've done all these introductory games between Armchair Dragoons and here. We need to give something for the guys who know the game and give them something a little bit more meaty to play with. So that's what the scenario on Saturday is going to be. We haven't narrowed the scenarios down yet. I'm waiting to hear back from Keith on it, but they're both going to be 2-hour segments. That's like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And yeah, the website is right there. It's a $10 entrance fee. With the $10, you get to play as many games as you want. I haven't heard back from Harold yet, but we are going to be having some prize support for the convention from Lock and Load Publishing, and we are looking to try to get a Lock and Load, 1 or 2 Lock and Load tactical games in. I think Rich is Rick. Why do I always call him Rich? I believe Rick is going to be running at least 1 or 2, and we got a couple other things we're looking at. Not sure if we're going to be able to sneak in a Nations at War yet, but we are. The 2 World at War are not the only games we're doing. I'm in the process of setting all the events up right now.
Okay. So. All right. And I got another question here.
As soon as the events go live on, it's been a day or two since I was down with the ear infection. The last time I checked, our events hadn't been scheduled yet, but they have been confirmed. I have gotten an email confirming that yes, they are going to be on there. I don't think Harold's got them up on the events calendar yet. So as soon as they pop up on the events calendar, then that's going to, as far as I know, that's going to be a perfect time for people to start signing up for these events. So. Okay. And we got 2 weeks to go, a little over 2 weeks to go. So 14 or 15 days. So there's plenty of time yet to still get things in.
Okay. And let me see what else we have listed here. Guys, I'm just going to pop this up real fast. You know, we're here to help you guys.
I'll be right back.
No problem. Not game support. Game support's done on the forums. But if you have an order, you have any issues like that, that's where you go get help for that. Darren's basically handling our support now at the warehouse. So it does sometimes take him a day or 2 to get back. But he does read all of them. Okay. And as you probably have already heard and seen, Friendly Fire is the new Lock and Load video show. It's being hosted by Johnny and Devin. There's going to be other players. We do want to play with you guys online. So if you make a comment, drop a note somewhere, even open up a support ticket, Devin or Johnny will set up a time to play with you online, one of our games. Okay. So, there you go. And you may want to know, why is it on Twitch? Why not do Facebook or this? The quality on Twitch, I'm not sure if it's 4K, but it's far greater video quality than the other Facebook or YouTube. So we will upload the videos there to Facebook and YouTube, but it's always going to be live on Twitch first. And I don't know when the next show is scheduled. I'll have to leave that to Devin. I'm not sure Devin even knows that yet. And if you guys are just looking for people to play online by yourself via Vassal, Ball Tabletop Simulator, or at your favorite house or clubhouse or gaming group, Discord, this is also totally in Devin's wheelhouse. He runs a Discord server. Everything's, if you know what Discord is and how to use it, there you go.
And I live on Discord. I work from home, so I always have Discord running in the background. I'm no further than maybe an hour or two away from each time I check in, maybe a little bit longer. But if you got a question, we're going to get an answer to you relatively quickly.
All right. Someone has a question right now. Rough Swordsman, have the 5-1 rules with SCG.
Second chance.
You know what? I believe they have left already, actually. I believe those games are well on their way there. So yes, I would say they should have been sent out already. Okay. I think did you have a schedule makeup? Johnny was sick too. He was having some breathing issues, but he's all recovered too.
Yep.
I don't know if you have a new makeup date for the
possibly this Sunday at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's all going to come down. Halloween is Saturday night, and I've kind of got an event that I'm going to be attending. I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. Not that I dress up. I used to, but I don't anymore. But it's a good chance to reconnect with good friends. And usually much adult libation is imbibed at this time. So I'm hoping that Sunday at 1 o'clock, we will be able to get our next few turns in, but I don't want to say 100% because it's all going to depend on what happens on Halloween. I'm a bad man.
Okay.
So
all right.
Sorry.
Now, I'm going to say this, guys, before I even show this. Okay. And I guess this really kind of be near the end of it. Okay. He's happy about that.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, it's not like you can't download the 5.1 digital, Rough.
He wants a
I get it. I understand it, but the digital can tide you over.
All right. These games are currently at the printer. Okay. Here's of the Space Infantry. The Forgotten campaign is Bougainville, I believe. Princeton. The Atlanta campaign is the Death of Dixie and Victory and Death of Trenton. I don't remember. There's something else in there.
Dangerous Ground?
No, that did not make it.
That didn't make it. Oh, okay. Okay.
They were already in process, and I didn't want them stopping.
Gotcha.
God only knows where I would have been in the line. And plus, with the deals we have going on now, there's going to be quite a few things to do.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff in the queue. That's all we can say right now, people.
Someone had asked me about, I think I mentioned about the zombie, Lock and Load Tactical Zombie.
Lock and Load Tactical Zombie, yeah.
We're just waiting for the counters. We are going to be behind. We will miss Halloween. Okay.
I'm as annoying as this may be, I'm almost saying we should hold off until next Halloween, but I know people are going to want it, so.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be Halloween.
No, it's cooler if we could have made it for Halloween.
I'm not going to argue that. Okay. Do we have anything else we need to go over? Oh, I know what I want to point out. Let me just see. I know Roy Matheson's War Party won for best.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? I mean, I don't want to say amateur if it's amateur. Is it amateur?
What was it? What was the CSR called for that? It's not amateur. Oh, I can't remember.
No, hold on. I have something. I think I have it right here. So let me just see if I can find it. Hold on.
Independent?
I'd be lying to you because I have no idea. Hold on. Okay. I really have no idea. It's not here. But okay. I know War Diary won
its category for magazine games, right? Or for magazines.
Oh, I know it's self-published. That's what it is. Self-published.
Self-published, right?
A lot of people think that Lock and Load is War Diary. We are not War Diary. Okay, we work hand in hand with Roy Matheson and his team. We do print the books for him, but everything that goes in there, with the exception of maybe us giving him the ads that we get from him in the magazine, it's all him. Okay, so it's nothing to do with Lock and Load. Honestly, I think I was calling him up to actually put ads in his magazine, and we talked and we found that we were both in the state of Colorado at the time, and I mentioned to him, because I had one or two of his issues back then, and I said, hey, if you ever want to make a color and all that, I'm always for helping up the other wargaming guys. We can make a color, and let me know. And at the time he was printing, I believe, at a college, and I said, no problem, if it ever changes or anything like that, give me a holler. And about a couple of months after that, I guess something changed at the college, and he said, hey, is that offer still good? And I said, yeah, sure. And I think we did a black and white issue and then moved it to color, I think, or maybe we just
they had black and whites first.
Yeah, so at least by the first color issue, it's definitely, we've been printing it. So if you like the color, good. If you don't like the articles, blame Roy. If you don't like the color, blame us, I guess. But yeah, so War Diary is not by us. We just helped them out, and I personally think it's the best magazine out there because they concentrate on the articles and don't get lost in trying to get a game, shoved in there. Now, War Diary and Lock and Load together, we are working on games that we're putting out as battles on demand. The Trenton game, the Atlanta game, the Bougainville game. I might be missing one or two, but those are all games that basically Roy brought to the table by people he knows, and he worked with some of the artists we use, but they're really mostly done by them, if not all of them. The covers are by them, and then we're going to put them on our battles on demand. And you have to double check with Roy, War Diary, but I believe if you buy a 1 year subscription, or you
1 year subscription,
or you renew your 1 year subscription, you get one free game.
I thought it was two.
No, it's one.
Is it just one? Is it just one? Okay. Okay.
They would know better than us because we don't have to do that. So, but you get a free, at least one free game.
One free game.
I don't remember if you have to pay shipping, or I don't remember the details, guys. But if you don't have an issue or you haven't read it, you can get it. You can buy an issue on our site and download it. They come in PDFs as well. But I think you'll be pretty impressed with it.
Yeah.
And the team there. Heroes of the Space Infantry. Yes, that is at the printers, Chet. That and Heroes of the Space Infantry. No, that is the same thing. Heroes of Space Infantry is really Heroes.
Space Infantry Resurgence Tactical.
Right. That's Lock and Load Tactical and Science Fire. And then that's the other one. It's Space Infantry Federation.
That's the State of Siege game that we got. Yes, okay. That's the other one.
And they're all being flown in. So there's a real chance some of these games will make it before Christmas. So at least one or two of them should, because we can print the rest of the stuff and just wait for that. And I can safely tell you that, Federation is done. I don't think Space Infantry Tactics have all the scenarios done yet. So we're still waiting on that. But hopefully that answers that question.
Space Infantry Federation, I would say, is the best bet of us having something before Christmas.
Yeah, I think that's a fair.
That is the most complete game that we have right now, and we are printing the counters, and they should be back to us in 3 to 6
Well, they should be. They're already printed. So.
Really?
And that's why I couldn't sneak the ground in there. Already printed.
Okay.
The other two games that can very easily be ready to will be Campaign Atlanta.
Death of Dixie.
Because that's actually all done too.
Yeah.
And so is
Heroes of Trenton.
Right. Victory or Death.
Or the Victory, right. Victory or Death for the Trenton game.
So those games are all done too, and all the pieces are done there. Okay, guys, you got anything else for us? Oh, before I forget. we did win best modern era.
Best modern. Yeah.
For the CSRs, and we got nominated for Space Infantry, but we did not win. I think Dune beat us out, which is
that. I love the game. I still have my 1977 version on my table. I the last time I played it was a couple years ago. I've got the new Gale Force 9, but really, it shouldn't have been in the CSRs because it's a game that was done 40 years ago. So it shouldn't have. What's that?
You didn't get updated?
No. Oh no. The only thing that changed was they expand less than 5% of the rules changed. They expanded out the turn sequence from, I think it was used to be 4 phases to like 9 phases now. Other than that, the two games are mechanically the same, and I do have a video on it over at the OG. So if you want to go see my take on, but that's just, it's Space Infantry should have won, but I might be a bit biased. So.
Yeah, we might be a little biased. Listen, I'm just, you know what? I was thrilled that we just got nominated, honestly.
Yeah, very true, very true.
So, and, in World at War 85, I mean, Keith and Jeff and all the other guys on there, they just did such an incredible job. So I'm really,
phenomenal job.
Yes, I'm really happy that they won. So, all right. You got anything else for us?
I got nothing else for us.
Okay. So, guys, this is last call, as they say.
David's lost the button again.
I thought I had done something, but apparently did not do something. All right. So, no, I didn't lose the button. I don't even have the button loaded. How's that?
Works for me.
Okay. And, well, then we're going to wave. I thought we had something.
We had something.
I didn't load it, didn't I?
That's the problem.
Hey, we probably will not be doing a show. Well, actually, funny thing is, Deb and I were considering doing an election coverage, right?
Election night coverage, lock and load tactical style.
So
that's alcohol.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to do that. I think we were just screwing around. We'll probably will skip next Thursday coming on, and we'll probably go do Saturday, and we'll probably do around 1-2 p.m.
Right.
Get the Europeans, in which we try to move the schedule around so we don't get everybody all the time, but we also don't leave somebody out all the time.
Right, right.
Okay. So, all right, guys. Well, this is what we're going to wave to you because I didn't put the new thing up. Okay. So, when's the next show? The next show, Rough Swordsman, thank you. The next show should be, we've been the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, we've had them on Thursday nights, just the way it worked out for us. Next week's show will probably not be Thursday nights, but always look around the forum because we change it on purpose based on schedules. Yeah. And will probably be Saturday unless we have a reason we can't do it on Saturday.
On the 7th, November 7th. That's what we're shooting for.
Oh, you know what? If we do it on the 7th, it'll have to be later in the afternoon. Maybe it will be Thursday. I'll talk to Devin later. I just remembered something. Good thing you said the 7th. Okay, guys. Well, listen, as always, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. And just like I said, get questions together, ask us things. We're looking forward to hearing from you. And as always, good night, gentlemen. Okay, well, that's not working either. What the hell is going on? Okay, I give up. I tell you, the last 2 episodes we've done this.
We've had technical issues. It's the gremlins, I tell you, man.
Well, that is all you have for this episode. Keep gaming, and may God bless you and keep you until next time. On the air is a Lock and Load Publishing production.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.